Ingoma. That's why we're here. Ingoma. All right, we want to welcome you to Ingoma. Ingoma means drum and dance. That's why we're here, to celebrate a brother that has been enormous in our life. Enormous in our life. We're here to celebrate him. It allows us time to really think about the joy that he brought, the love that he brought, the skills that he brought, the lessons that he taught. This is why we're here. Dhati Majaliwa. That's why we're here, for Ingoma. My son, Elian, who is really Jerry and Michael's son, but we claimed him. He's going to help me because now I'm in the senior years, and we need all kinds of help. They think if they call me one more time, y'all gonna hear about it. About Medicare, I won't talk about it. But we're here definitely to have joy, to bring all kinds of good vibrations, to do what we do, to be who we need to be. So Elian was going to tell you about how Ingoma started, but I thought about that. He was about 12. So, that wasn't going to work. And he agreed. He said, what did you tell me?
I said, we got two different versions of how Ingoma started. We got my version, we got...
Let him give you his version. Go right ahead.
Well, good evening, everybody. Yeah, so first, permission for my elders to speak. Thank you. Okay, my version of Ingoma, of how it started. First, growing up as a youth, my parents and other parents, which are my extended family in the village I grew up in, had a bookstore called Progressive Emporium and Education Center. What was that address? Whatever that 6200 block of Delmore was, when it was not looking like the Delmore that it is today. But they created this store. They created all of these personalities to visit and come through, get education through books, as well as interaction from Black authors. And in the trial and the journey of them creating this store, a sister by the name of Marquita had a business that was a restaurant named La Patisserie that was 2 stores further down. And I believe it was a Saturday. One Saturday, Baba Dhati and some other the old school drummers showed up with their beats, but they was drums. They started playing outside of the restaurant first because people used to dine inside and outside. And the sister mother, Marquita, invited them inside to play their instruments. And the sounds that they were creating, which was not rehearsed or put together, was sounding so good that they decided to start this Saturday gathering of drummers. And through that gathering, they named it Ingoma. Ingoma represented African freedom and liberation. As we know, the drum is an instrument not only just for performance and entertainment, but also to send you into trance state. And Baba Dhati's influence was freedom and liberation. Through whatever you got, through whatever you went through in the work week, your family problems, your job problems, or the problems that living in this society puts on you, Ingoma was a place for you to free yourself and get the edge up off your shoulder. Feel free, eat good, talk good, drink good if you have some in your pocket or in the car. And come out more loving and more joyful than you entered. Now that's my version of how Ingoma started.
We can feel good, parents. They learned something. Right, they learned something. Well, actually, that was just about it. In 1991, Dhati had a group of children that he wanted to display. He needed some place to take them. And he wanted to show how much they had learned. So he asked the Sister Marquita, hey, could we use this space? And that's what they did. And once they started playing and all of that, people from outside on the street came into the restaurant, and there you go, you're right. Ingoma was started. So we had it, and Dhati wanted to do all of those things to show off the children and what they had learned. And people were so excited that it happened every Saturday around 8 o'clock. All right, so we're going to move forward. So you now have the history of Ingoma, and we have welcomed you, and we want you to surely bring all the good energy that you have, all the good energy that we want to take with us, because we need each other. We must have each other. We must have each other and the energy that we can give each other to survive and keep going, moving forward. All right. Are we going to do that?
Yes. We will now
What you want?
all right.
All right, we're going to move to our next space.
Our next speaker will be Mrs. Shameen Clark Hubbard, Alderwoman Shameen Clark Hubbard.
All right. All right. Come right up.
All right, good evening, everyone. I know my name sounds a little different than what you're reading on your programs, but that's what we do in our communities is stand in the gap, right? That's absolutely what Baba Dhati did for us. I want to thank you all and thank the family for this opportunity to share in this celebration. One of the things that he always did for me in our relationship, not just through my children at Better Family Life, but once I was honored to serve at the Board of Aldermen under Clerk Kennedy, was first he told me, you don't know who my twin is. And once he did that, it just like opened the door, right? And he had this way, and I tell Clerk Kennedy this all the time, he had this way of correcting us, right? Which is first, especially in the youth, we have to accept that. Correcting, but also encouraging us at the same time. And when he knew that you was receiving it, it was like an open door, just like Kirk Kennedy. So it's just been a blessing and an honor to be able to know them and to serve with them. I'm up here standing in the gap for our Mayor, Tashara Jones, with this proclamation. And I'm not sure if you want me to read the entire proclamation. Okay. You see, I follow direction. I follow direction. But what is important for this, before I get out the way of one of the women I look up to at the Board of Aldermen, Alderwoman Marlene Davis, is that she therefore resolved through this proclamation, right, that Dhati, did I pronounce it? Majaliwa, Gary Samuel Kennedy Memorial Day in the city of St. Louis today. What better way to bring in December, to bring in the end of the year and finish strong, right? December the 1st, Baba Dhati Day. Thank you to the family. And I continue to be here in spirit, love, honor, and support for you all.
My job is a political job tonight, but let me get my personal on first. So see, I have to do that. I owe the honor of having the privilege of the twins, because that's what we used to say all the time back in the day. Nobody had an individual name, the twins. Okay? All right. What they did with our children, most especially our young men, they taught them the purpose of being. You know, you don't just walk the earth just because. They were very intentional, extremely intentional. But then they also brought them in with the music, the dance, but then they slid in the education part. And they didn't even realize it because they were so happy to be there for the dance and the music and the presence of men, okay, that they were like sponges. I will never, and I've said this 100 times at the Board of Aldermen, when some of them get too feisty and when they get out of order and disrespectful, you need to know some history about us, okay? You don't know these neighborhoods. You don't know the culture that came out of these communities. But these twins and their entire family, because you know, they a mob, in case y'all didn't know. They a mob. Because they totally support each other. And everything that they do, no one is allowed to fail unless you just really want to be a fool. Okay? That's on you. Because we know you had support. And in order to make sure that, and you need to understand something, the resolution is coming from the Board of Aldermen, but it required 2 pages. Most people just give 1. Okay? Nah, yeah. So that lets you know what happened while he was here with us, the twins. Because you see, I remember when I first met, I still have to respect him and call him his title, which is the Honorable Terry Kennedy. When I first met him, when I went to pick my kids up, where is your sidekick? Sophia, where is she at? Okay. I'm not gonna forget you, baby, because all y'all were. Oh, okay. They were so instrumental. They worked so well together. They wouldn't bite, you know, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna take everything away from you, I'm gonna go over here and be by myself. They didn't do any of that all these years. Do you know what that means? And one of the things we gotta do, if we wanna win, or if we wanna sustain, is to get back to our culture, okay? We gotta come on back. It ain't nobody know you better than you know you. Took 2 pages. And so I want you at your leisure to read, because I guarantee you there's something in there that you didn't know, okay? Because we all came into their relationship with them in different places, different times. And so there's probably something you don't know. But for me, I had to cry. He seen me cry on the floor of the Board of Aldermen when I talk about what they did to help me raise my sons. Because you see, I wanted my sons to be examples of greatness. I wanted them to know the history of us. I didn't want them to believe that the only thing they need to know was Ralph Lauren and love and hip hop, okay? I didn't want them to only believe that the only thing they could put on their feet was a Nike, okay? I needed them to know and understand who they were and where they came from and what their responsibility is on this earth. And it's not about having a lot of money. It's about serving and giving. And you know that the twins were definitely doing their part. We can never, ever, ever, ever forget that. And so, on behalf of the Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Louis, we have resolved with this resolution, which is legislation that will put this into the archives of the City of St. Louis for eternity. Thank you.
We would now ask for Baba Khatib Wahid to please come forward. You joined the Cane Club. It's all good.
How you doing, sister?
I'm
Good
good.
to see you.
Good to see you. All right.
Can you hold this one? With the name of God, who is most gracious and most compassionate, I want to extend the greetings of peace to each and every one of you and your family members and your friends and your extended families. And I want to greet you in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. To the immediate family and extended family and friends of our beloved brother, Dhati Kennedy, and to my dear friend and brother with another mother, his twin, Kujaliwa Kennedy, we pray that your thoughts and moments of solitude and prayers in the coming days, weeks, and months about our beloved brother will be filled with many precious moments of joy and laughter and reflection on the achievement, much of which has been described by the older woman, and the hope for a future of liberation for our children, our families, our friends, communities, and our people. You know, I often ask people a question that focuses or that lifts up this idea. The question is, can you tell us what are the two most important days in our lives? And almost everyone gets the first one correct, and that's our birthday, or the day that we entered into this life. But most often, the response to the second question is either the day we die, or the day we got married, or whatever. And those answers aren't incorrect, but the one that I'm looking for is the day that we realize why we were born. What is our purpose? What is our nia that has been given to us by the Creator to make a difference somehow, somewhere, and with someone on this side of life? Some of us realize it sooner than others. Some of us come to that recognition later than others. And unfortunately, some of us don't live long enough to recognize it at all. We're losing too many young brothers, too many young sisters, and we're seeing too much grief and pain in our families and our community. But as the older women, both of them have said, I believe Dhati and his other half, Kujaliwa, figured it out very early. I met them in 1974. I was 22 years old then, and I don't know, y'all was like 50 or something like that. Well, that's how they acted. You know, they were the kind of folks that we used to say, y'all been here before. Right? And I've always admired them for that, because they've been focused all their lives. And when I think about maybe the philosophy or a single portion of a philosophy that embodied those two brothers and all of the extended family that they brought together in community, I would say Dhati was one who would say, I am we. Or I am because we are. I have significance, I have purpose because we have, as a people, significance and purpose. And a distinction can sometimes be made between, when we think about our purpose, a distinction can be made between our vocation versus our purpose. Okay? What we do, our career pursuits, those kinds of things would categorize as a vocation or career pursuit. But what we're about, what is our reason for being here is our purpose. And so many people knew Dhati as a highly gifted master drummer, teacher, and leader, and maybe even to some extent a co-founder of Ingoma, right? But in my humble opinion, drumming was not his purpose. Drumming was a special gift that was given to him by the Creator, and he surely took time to develop it. Brother Sunshine, More Charm, and folks like that helped him and his brother and the other brothers who were part of this Ingoma to develop it into a fine craft. But Dhati's purpose, to me, was embodied in two of the main principles of the Nguzo Saba. The third principle, which is collective work and responsibility, or Ujima, and the fifth one, Nia, purpose. And for those of us who may not be familiar with what that means, for Dhati, with respect to Ujima, he tirelessly and intentionally worked to build and maintain our community together. Is that right? And he made our brothers and sisters' problems his problem. And he was always about coming together to solve those problems together. And then Nia, the fifth principle, which can be described as part of a broader collective struggle aimed at restoring our people to our traditional greatness. Well, Dhati was a soldier. Dhati was a general. He could drum his off, right? But whenever there was a fight to be fought, whenever there was a struggle to be overcome, whenever there was a need to rescue, Dhati was there. His artistic gifts inspired, they motivated, they were used to organize and support liberation struggles for people of African descent throughout the diaspora, as well as for other indigenous people and folks of color. So we thank the Creator for bestowing the gifts of art and leadership that was given to Dhati. And we thank Dhati and his mother and father and his immediate family, his extended family, both blood kin and non, for sharing him with us and sharing him long enough for him and us to recognize and appreciate his impact on community. We will certainly miss him. I can only try to imagine what it's like to have shared space in the womb and been with somebody all your life and have them no longer here, right? So my heart and my prayers and my love go out to you, Brother Kujaliwa. I know you're a strong brother. I know you're gonna move with it. I know you're gonna roll with it, but you're still a human being. So we pray, lastly, that Dhati's sacrifices, his contributions, his intentions, which preceded his last rite of passage, which is what we're recognizing, will be welcomed by the angels, celebrated by the ancestors, and highly rewarded by the Creator. So we thank you for being here. And I invite you to just take a look around this room and see how many people are in here. That says something about who he was and who we are. Okay? Assalamu alaikum.
You want to go there? Go ahead.
Okay. We will next have Nia, entertainment, and guests.
You ready?
Are we ready? Okay,
Gotta
we got to
find
find
it.
one. Okay. Let's see this. Okay, and while we're while we're waiting on Nia, entertainment, and guests, we're gonna read a brief artist statement that was created by Baba Thadi of how and why Ingoma was started.
You want to read that part?
I'm reading this one.
This down here. Okay.
This again?
Mm-hmm.
It won't. I taught a drum class to a group of youths in 1991. I wanted the students to have a recital to show off what they learned. My friend and sister, Marquita Daniels, owned a restaurant in the Del Mar Loop. She allowed me and the students to hold a recital at her place. When we began playing, a large crowd came in, and well, the recital became a venue not only for us, but for all artists. And that's how Ingoma was created.
We're going to hear the mission statement. Because Ingoma has a mission statement. You know, we all, what did the brother just talk about? Our purpose. Right, our purpose and a mission. Our brother Kujaliwa is going to give us the mission of Ingoma. Okay. Come on. Come on. There you go.
See how I got up here. Permission from the elders to speak. I want y'all to see how I did, and Khatib couldn't make it up here. Talk about me again. Every specially designated day, somewhere around 8 o'clock, we gather to inspire ourselves. Now, y'all supposed to say inspire after I say it. Now, all you people that have been to Ingoma, don't act like that y'all in a high, fancy place today. Y'all used to being all sweaty la patisserie. And I saw your hair curl like everybody else's. So every specially designated day, somewhere around 8 o'clock, we gather to inspire ourselves, to educate ourselves, to motivate ourselves for action. We gathered in the name of every specially designated day. After a long week of going to these various jobs that don't give us anything what we're worth, after a long week of going to these various schools that don't teach you anything about being black or African, after all of that abuse, we gather to rub elbows together, to smile with one another, to give each other good vibes, to say good words, and to speak the way we speak and not have to explain it to nobody. Every specially designated day, somewhere around 8 o'clock, we gather to inspire ourselves, to educate ourselves, to motivate ourselves for action. I know that's a lot of words. To motivate ourselves for action. I heard somebody say, well, motivate ourselves. We gather in the name of We gather as a group of people to smile, to give each other that good energy, to feel good about what it means to be black and African. We gather to push each other, to follow our traditions, and to reclaim the tradition of the drum that was taken from us that people said, y'all better not play or we break your fingers, and to sing our songs, because they used to say if you were saying an African language, they'd cut out your tongue. Every specially designated day, we used to say Saturday, but every specially designated day, we would gather to inspire ourselves, to educate ourselves, to motivate ourselves for action. We gathered in the name of Ingoma. So as Ingoma's tradition, we do get up and say, do we have permission from the elders to speak? As Mama Francis used to say, that doesn't mean the elderly, but the elders. And some of you all who used to come to Ingoma, y'all elders now, so don't act like you teenagers. So that gives you the opportunity to say, yes, you may speak. You can do that now. Y'all got gray, and the teeth are beginning to leave, so it's okay. So we say, we gather in the name of Ingoma. And I thank you.
All right. Well, Ingoma, and we're ready for Nia Entertainment, and yes, ready to go.
And I work in the community as a dancer choreographer. I've known Baba Thati Samuel Kennedy Gary for 50 plus years, so I'm very honored to be here today. And so what I have tried to do was pull together some of the dance performance companies that I founded. One of them is NIA, which is entertainment with a purpose. Talking to NIA, good is about good energy. And the other one is Kite Kaumba Youth Performance Ensemble, which is being represented by Better Family Life under the direction of Samantha Madison. Last but not least is Baba Edward Brown, master percussionist, genre percussionist, actor, and his group now is called Drummers for Unity. Yes, Drummers for Unity. So all these young people that you see up here, somewhere along the way, they were either taught by Baba Thati, they did performances with him. The very last professional performance we were honored to work with him was at Harris Stowe for their convocation August 26, 2022. And whenever I asked him for anything, he was more than willing to come out and help support the community, whether it's through the arts or activism or just being a good person. So without any further ado, our youth, are we in place, Baba Ed? We're in places. So our youth are going to do a children's number, a Manjani number, and very quickly they will do a finale piece. So please welcome them with bongo, Nia, kite, and drumming for unity. Sing, say, sound, sound. Bongo, bongo, kumaye. Bongo, bongo, kumaye. Dose, akumaye. Bongo, bongo, kumaye. Bongo, bongo, kumaye. Dose, akumaye. on, y'all. Honor the brother. Take care. Hut. Yes. Yes. Come on, y'all. Come on. Breathe through it. Breathe in. Huh. Yes. Come on, Kite. K-Pie. Hit. Hey, y'all, hey! Yes! That is Ingoma Youth Performance Ensemble. They are out of Better Family Life. And finale, we're going to put Naya and Kite together for our finale. Then we're going to hear from them brothers really quick. What? You don't know me, what? And ho! Get ready for the finale. Are we ready? Dancers, here we go. Yes, yes, hey, my Ashe. Hey, girl.
say, Ingoma ain't no movie. So if you feel it in your seat, just get on up and do what you do. All right, we're going to keep moving forward. We would like for Mama Jamala Rogers and Baba Kalimu Ndesha to come forward, please.
So, first of all, what I'm going to say is like, this is what you just heard was the soundtrack for our movement, the Black Liberation Movement. That's the first thing I want to say, and give them a hand because I'm a percussionist, but I'm not as good as them little young ones up there. They throwing down, but that's what they're supposed to do. Because they said, hey, I can do it better than you, Baba. Right on, do it. So, but the point is this. For me, when I look out at the audience, I see all of you. I know a whole lot of the folks out in the audience. But then, Dhati and Majaliwa, I knew them before I knew a lot of you. We started a lot of the modern Black liberation movement here in St. Louis. We actually did. That is, I don't know if y'all know anything about the Congress of African People, but they were a part of that. And we laid the foundation for a lot of cultural and political stuff on all the different fronts where we see the fruits of it all now. And now, and my only thing is that I'm just so proud of that fact. But, and that goes way back. But I don't have that much time. And so, but what I do want to say is on behalf of the Organization for Black Struggle, get my pieces together here, the Youth Council for Positive Development, the Infrared Rockers, they've all been a part of that, of making that all possible as we all move forward. I want to say, Tutao Nana, farewell, our brother, fellow warrior, culture worker in arms, always fighting for Black liberation, self-determination, and self-defense for our African sisters and brothers at home and abroad. You have earned your rightful place with our ancestors. We say farewell. And they welcome you. You are now in that place where we look for inspiration. We say Ashe. Say Ashe. Ashe. We all strive to live the kind of life at the end, as we say in Africa and here in the hood. I will do my best for my people, for the struggle, for victory. We live in Guza Saba, the 7 principles of the Black value system. Dhati, when you and Kujiwa, 2 young Black militants, approached me, Kalimu, about giving African names to you and members of the Vashon Black Student Association, I was inspired and overwhelmed because everybody wanted a name. They wanted an identity. They said, I'm not a Negro, I'm an African. They all wanted a name. And now, because I can tell you how many people I gave the names to and stuff, but the point of it is this. I don't know if any of you would
them would embrace the name or its meaning. Now I know, in terms of Dhati Majaliwa, I gave him that name. I gave him that name. When I gave him that name, it was like my wish. It was like saying, here's your name. And, you know, he lived up to it. You know, because he reached out and touched black lives and worked to make them matter, especially our precious young black youth. We saw a bunch of them on the stage tonight, and it's a whole army of them that's waiting for direction from us, and we have to give it to them, and that's what we're all about. And his name, free will. He was a very independent thinker. You know, that was one thing about him. You know, Kujaliwa, he was much more reserved and stuff. But Dhati was like, he was just like, look, I'm gonna be over here and over there. And that was a good thing. You know, because he believed in working with everybody that had a vision of work for the good of the African American community, regardless of ideology. He worked with everybody all around. And so I say, you know, that he shared the rich talents as a performer, a presenter, and a teacher. Dhati, you know, you embodied what it meant to be determined. That's the second thing about him. In the face of setbacks, personal losses, and obstacles. And as we say, how to keep on pushing. You can't stop now. That was Dhati, you know, his thing was all the way to the end. Keep on pushing. That's the legacy he leaves for us, you know? And my thing is that anybody who believes in Dhati and want to follow his footsteps, we should embrace, and practice his name, which would mean free will, talented, and determined. Everybody in this audience has that, but you have to do what? Make Dhati Majaliwa live on forever in your actions. His vision for black liberation, and because we gotta go forward still. I'm gonna end it right there because my sister over here, Jamala, she's gonna have some things to say that really need to be said. So I'm gonna back off now.
Asante Sana Kalibu. First of all, I want to, before people get a little antsy, people are used to giving me double the work, but I'm not going to be speaking again later in the program. That's a typo, okay? Yeah, so. But Kalibu, I think you did a really good job with the name. He definitely lived up to free will, talented, determined. Kujaliwa lived up to his. Kalimu also named me Jamala, and it's no sort of trivial thing. I mean, Kalimu does a whole thing about the name, where the planets were when they lined up, you know, all of that, because he's trying to figure out what your aspirations should be. So all of us have been striving for a long time to live up to those names, right, Kujaliwa? So I met Dhati and his brother when they were both students at Vashon High School, as Kalimu both said. Most of us who were radicalized during the late 1960s, we were ready. We were primed for what was about to happen. And Thadi was no different. He was ready to embrace his African self and to take the next step, to be baptized in the Black Liberation Movement. I had just arrived in St. Louis, hot off organizing students on my campus and other campuses across the country. So it was not a leap for us to be going to Vashon High School to organize young folks in the Black Student Association, because I believe then, as I believe now, that young people are the verve and the vitality of our struggle. But being young and energetic is not all we need. You must be culturally grounded around a political analysis. You must have love for African people, and you must have a vision for Black liberation. And so the young Kennedys were thereby recruited into the St. Louis Congress of African People, complete with their new African names. But when I look back in those days, I really thought I was grown, y'all, especially the Dhati and Majaliwa, but later on I realized there was only 5 years difference between us. So, yeah, it was a lot when y'all went in high school because we were like grown people to y'all, okay? But what happened over the years is that fluid relationship changed. Sometimes I was Thadi's big sister, sometimes I was elder, sometimes I was his peer. So that was a really good thing to see and have and experience. But he was always a true Rafiki, and that means friend. So there are many memories that I hold dear. Some of you all here, because I'm well familiar with the Kennedy family, hanging out at the Kennedy home on Enright and Whittier, where Baba and Mama Kennedy wanted to see who the twins were hanging out with, who were these Habarigani people that were radicalizing their twins and their young sons. But I also got to hear about the history of that family, which was pretty phenomenal, especially being survivors of the 1917 East St. Louis massacre. Later, I would be able to participate in those anniversaries and feel the real sense of pride of being a survivor, even if it was only by proxy. The Kennedy folks also helped to bring Kwanzaa to the St. Louis community, which was no small feat in 1969, when there was a lot of colonial minds that were resistant to a Black holiday because they thought somebody was trying to take Christmas. We almost got ran out of town, but we persevered, right? Thadi loved percussions, and you've heard that. He loved percussions. He loved performing. He loved teaching. He just liked talking about the history of drums and dance. So I remember when we were sometimes at the Mid-City Center on Del Mar, practicing drum and dance, and sometimes, particularly during the winter months, we didn't have heat because somebody didn't pay the bills. But we persisted as young people. And I remember I focused on that African drum beat so I wouldn't hear my teeth chatter and my feet get cold. Y'all didn't know I was an African dancer, right? So all of these members are really close to my heart. But I think the twins are innately historians, and that trait was probably nurtured in the family. So whenever I saw Thadi throughout the years, I knew there was going to be some reminiscing. Mama Jamala, remember when? I do. Remember when? Yeah, I do. Because remember, we're only 5 years apart. He would remind me that before Canfield was negatively associated with the police murder of Mike Brown, he lived in Canfield. And I would nod and say, yeah, I remember the parties you gave Thadi. But he would also say, what do you think about this? What do you think about this event, this person, that person? And so we always had really animated conversations. And so we agreed on most things, but every once in a while I had to take him to school about Black feminism and its relationship to Black liberation. So some of y'all probably might have had the same conversations with him, hopefully. But Thati was a steward of and protector and promoter of Black history, of Black culture, and that's one thing that you'll hear is the thread with what everybody's saying, that he was generous with what he had, from his knowledge and talents to his material things. He didn't have a lot, but whatever he had, he was willing to share that with you. He was funny, generous, kind-hearted, and a true storyteller. So to the village that loved and support Thati, hold your memories close to your heart. Practice the Nguzo Saba, Umoja, Kujichagulia, Ujima, Ujamaa, Nia, Kuumba, Imani. Strive to bring unity to the space you hold, to work together for our community, pooling our resources to benefit the collective, to make this world a better place than what you came into it, and to never, never, ever stop believing in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Asante.
All right. Asante. We're going to take a lot out of here tonight. So when you tell your stories, we got lots to tell. Lots of good things to say. Lots of lessons to teach our children because they need us. That's the only way we're going to survive. All right, we're going to ask that.
Mama Cheryl Walker, the Bosman twins with Patah Williams.
There we go. All set? Here they come. Some more goodness.
May I have permission from my elders to speak? Asante Sana. I want to give honor to Baba Kujaliwa, Mama Joyce, Mama Azima, because there ain't no love like sibling love. And I'm borrowed that from my dearest friend, Rudy Nickens. But I'm blessed to have my brothers, Dwayne and Dwight Bosman, accompany me. And Patah Williams as well on keyboard. But I also like to say I honor Sister Larice, Brother Kevin, Brother Terrell, Sister Coralicia, and the entire Kennedy family and extended families. And I want to open with a quote before we move into this poem. And the quote is of Baba Thati. Ownership is an illusion. Those who claim to have dominion, ownership over any living thing, inflicts a grave injustice on themselves and the universe. With that, I'll ask you to join me on this journey, what I'm calling a praise journey, praises in the key of D. drumming on the edge of sound, draped in red, black, and green, gumboot dancing to liberation's rhythm, leading us with passion and love energy. His profound sincereness, deep, like the Mississippi during East Saint Escape. Help me sing praises in the key of D to an ordinary man who does extraordinary things. Follow me to the edge of sound. Listen for the break, signaling us to keep on working, keep on flying, keep on fighting for universal black liberation. Baba Thadi, I sing praises in the key of D. Praises in the key of D to your ubiquity as you hold the moon in your hands, mold it into your instrument, and play magical, musical, majestical melodies. You hold the moon in your hands and mold it into your instrument and play magical, musical, majestical melodies. I sing praises. I sing praises in the key of D, while you brighten the sun's rays as they emanate forth like your hands on skins of our heartbeats, pleasantly pulsating through our collective unconscious, moving us to sing freedom's sweet song, invoking the spirits of our ancestor, causing non-believers to believe in spirit, spirits of God residing in us, spirits of God residing in water, spirits in air, spirits in earth, spirits in trees, free spirit that keeps on living, keeps on playing, keeps on loving, keeps on being his body thought. He's strumming at the edge of sound, leading us with his magical, wonderful world, his magical, wonderful world of passion, his magical, magnificent world of genius, his magical, glorious world of splendor. All the while, he's euphoniously drumming on the edge of sound. He's draped in red, black, and green, gumboot dancing to liberation's rhythm, leading us with his passion and love energy, his profound sincereness, deep, deep, deep like the Mississippi during East Saint Escape. Baba Thadi, incessantly fighting for our forever freeness, transcendently loving through our incalculable imperfections, encouraging us to just be. Another reason why I sing in the key of D. I sing praises in the key of D to our energetic dream maker, our strength builder and uplifter, our enduring dream catcher, our uncompromising, compassionate brother, our impassioned advocate, prophetic peacekeeper, holder of our deepest freedom dreams, majestical, universal human, loving us with his whole self, with both feet in. Help me sing praises in the key of D. I said, help me sing praises in the key of D to a tenacious, courageous leader of a man, an enlightened and enlightening man, imaginative and gifted man, empowered and impassioned man, an inspirational phenom of a man, a warrior love man with a will to love and a will to lead, a will to love and a will to lead, a will to love and a will to lead, triumphantly step into self-composed rhythms. His words, a spiritual alchemy, strengthening our self-determination. Sing praises in the key of D to Baba Thadi, a remarkable time weaver, continuously making it, an astonishing time weaver, generously giving it, an incredible time weaver, never running out of it, an interplanetary time weaver, thankful for the elongated moments of it, praises in the key of D, euphoniously drumming on the edge of sound, draped in red, black, and green, gumboot dancing to liberation's rhythm, leading us with passion and love energy, his profound sincereness, deep, like Mississippi during East Saint Escape. Baba Thadi's euphoniously drumming on the edge of sound, draped in red, black, and green, gumboot dancing to liberation's rhythm. This ain't no movie, leading us with passion and energy. This ain't no movie. His profound sincereness deep, like the Mississippi during East Saint Escape. Baba Thadi's euphoniously drumming on the edge of sound, draped in red, black, and green, gumboot dancing to liberation's rhythm, leading us with his passion and love energy, his profound sincereness, deep like the Mississippi during East Saint Escape.
our fears will starve to death. Feed your faith, because we're gonna keep going, because Dhati intends for us to keep going. We got work to do, kazi to do. Kazi means work. Kazi is the blackest thing that we can do. So we're gonna keep moving forward. Well, we would like for Wale Musa,
And Veronica Banks.
yes, to come forward.
Hello, St. Louis. Oh, wow. You know, it's not often that you run across people who are the embodiment of the goodness of black people. You see, we live in a society that wants to devalue, minimize, steal the legacy, and condemn us to an inferior position. Like Malcolm X used to say, it's a society that breaks your legs and then calls you crippled. It is not too often you run into a man or a twin with a twin brother, both of whom represent the embodiment of the excellence, of the commitment to excellence, and the commitment to humility, the commitment to respect for the dignity of the human personality, the commitment to tolerate that which we cannot change about ourselves, the commitment to appreciate the fact that all the treasures in the world cannot replace the life of the least amongst us. I'm talking about Brother Dhati Majaliwa and his brother, twin brother, Brother Kujiliwa. See, we go way back. I don't want to tell you about my age. But the fact is that I've been knowing Brother Kujiliwa and his brother for almost 45 years. And I was a grown man when I met them. My daughter, who is in the audience here, sometimes says that, Daddy, let's just round up your years to 100 years or something like that. We're here to celebrate the very best in our people. We're here to acknowledge the fact that in this city, we have some of the most brilliant people in the world. And it is because I live in this city that nobody can shake my faith in the goodness of our people. To know that Majaliwa is to never lose sight that regardless of what anybody says about our people, the very best is what we are. That he is the embodiment of the constant and relentless fight for unity of our people. A lot of people don't know this. Just a few months ago, we're doing a little program to recognize our sister, Alice Wyndham, and that he went above and beyond to make sure that we not only celebrated her life, to make sure that we gave her the most worthwhile kind of celebration that is worthy of the rich life that she lived. But there's a lot more to Kujiliwa and Majaliwa. You see, you cannot write the history of black empowerment in this city without talking about Dhati and his brother, Kujiliwa. You see, we deal in the cultural arena, we deal in the political arena, the religious arena, but one of the things that we almost always never talk about is that in the last 50 years, during the life of these two brothers, we have made significant progress in this city. There was a time, brothers and sisters, when in this city, you can count the number of African American aldermen on one hand. There was a time in this city when you had nobody on the board of estimate and apportionment. In fact, we lost a hospital in this city because of racism and because we didn't have an African American on the board of estimate and apportionment. And here we are today. For the first time in the history of the city of St. Louis, which was incorporated in 1822. For the first time in that history, last year, we had 3 African Americans on the Board of Estimate and Apportionment. And if it wasn't for the foolishness and the sadness of people who are not disciplined to deal with the integrity of the positions that they're elected to, we will still have 3 African Americans on that particular board today. Brother Dhati, Brother Majaliwa have been a part of this incredible movement towards black empowerment, that today we have a black mayor who is female, we have an African American controller who is female, we have a board of aldermen with a very powerful black legislative caucus led by people like our alderwoman Marlene Davis, our alderwoman Shamin Hubbard, and all these people in these positions are not there because they're smart. We have always been smart, but we have not always been in this position. And it is because of the relentless effort of brothers like Dhati, Majaliwa, and others in this city that we can say our children have a stronger platform to stand on. Today, see, sometimes people don't see history in motion. They only see it after 10 years or after 50 years. Well, Dhati and Majaliwa help us see every moment as that history is being made. In closing, I want to say this. Brother Dhati, it's been said that he touched young black lives. And I just want to live it this way. The struggles that he fought for and the issues that he fought against are still with us. The power that was secured on behalf of black people are under threat all over the country today. We have some people who want to roll back to those old rotten days where black people had no rights that anybody was bound to respect. And they're highly organized. They want to go back to the days of Jim Crow and before Jim Crow. And we are, and Dhati and Majaliwa are part of that group of black men and people like Veronica Banks and other black women in this city who are telling the whole world, you have a right to go back, but we have a right not to go with you. The legacy means something only if, as Dr. Martin Luther King once said, it's not about life or death, because to the question of death, there are no answers. It's about how we live our lives. Are we going to live as slaves? Are we going to live as free people? Are we going to fight against all injustices? Or are we going to try and cope with that madness? The only meaning today is that we pick up that baton that our brother has dropped. And we continue to advance this struggle because too many black lives are being wasted today. And it's left to us and the generations that are coming before us to strengthen the foundation that Brother Dhati, his twin brother, Kujiliwa, have dedicated their entire lives. Thank you so much. Love you.
All right, we're going to have a little person that's a powerhouse. Y'all just, oh, if you only knew. If you only knew. Right. Powerhouse. All right. There you go.
Do I have permission from my elders to speak? I'm rejecting the fact that I'm an elder now. Now, you all know I like to stay in the backgrounds. I don't know why they asked me to come up here. I do want to say that out of all the great things have been said about Dhati Majaliwa, they're all true. They're all true. And his greatness was in the fact that he did not seek greatness. He thought that if you just do the small things every day, they will build and they will create and they will leave a legacy. I was with him when he first went down to the Mississippi River and did an offering for the East St. Louis race riots. And it was years ago. Mind you, I met him 43 years ago. I'm not ashamed. I'm unapologetically not ashamed that 43 years ago, when I was 23, I met that man. Woo! He was something else. He was something else, and he never changed. He was like, Veronica, I think we should do so-and-so. Veronica, I was just calling you. Didn't wake you up, did I? It's 6:30 in the morning. I had an idea. What do you think we should do? I know what you can do. You can help me do this. That was Dhati. Years ago, he took a few people down to the Mississippi, and he said, we're going to do this offering. His family, it might have been 12 people. Several years ago, it was more than 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. What we don't realize is what we do, the impact of it, makes a difference in the lives beyond us. Most of the leaders, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, everybody was 23, 24, 25. What are we doing with our time? So Dhati, every moment he had an idea. He had an idea and he had a plan. And he would include you in his plan. And he would make sure that you implemented the plan to his satisfaction. I learned more about me dealing with him than dealing with anybody else. He would say, Veronica, I want us to do this video, and I want to put movies in it, and I want to do this, and I want to sing behind it, and I wrote the music, and I would say, I need coffee, Dhati. I got coffee for you. But he did those things. He was a champion of the oppressed. He was a hard-working man who worked with the mentally ill. He worked at the hospital where they had rejected people and put them, he would come out with all kinds of ideas on how to improve the system. He worked at all kinds of places. It had no concept to him that he shouldn't. That maybe he could get hurt, or, or maybe he could hurt someone else if you knew him. Dhati was an amazing man. He was the first person that told me years ago, we should do something about how they're treating women with this birth control stuff. They can't tell them what they do with their bodies. He was constantly thinking of ways to involve himself in not only a movement, but to make change. Now we're celebrating him, yes we are, and I already told you everything they said about him is true, but we're really celebrating ourselves because we are an extension of him and he us. And that will not end after this celebration or nor next week or next year. He has touched the lives and we have touched his life. But I digress. I want to tell you about my first meeting with his mother. Oh yes, I'm going to do this. So she said, who are you again? And I told her, she said, And then she said, I got to tell you a story. My husband and I, we were so prepared to have this 1/4 child. We were so prepared. We had everything ready. We had the crib, we had the clothes, we had everything. And everything was ready. So the doctor said everything was great. A very strong, powerful heartbeat. So the labor began. It was long and lengthy. That's what she said. And I couldn't. I'm wondering why she's telling me this story. She said after the birth, the doctor was great. He said, I'm gone. You had a good time. The nurse said, don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Majaliwa came out, and everybody was happy. Everybody was applauding. The doctor left. The nurse said, I don't think you should go anywhere. 8 minutes later, with the regular excitement, applause, the spirit, the energy, the bigness, here comes Dhati. She said, I want to tell you something. I was not amused. But she said, but one heartbeat, one steady heartbeat, all of those months made me realize this was a special one. These are special ones. And this was my introduction to listening to her talk about Dhati and Majaliwa. And I began to look more closely at them, at all the things that they would involve themselves. Dhati was the one that reminded me of a young child with the enthusiasm of life. He woke up with an idea all the time. And as was said, it wasn't like he didn't have challenges. He just didn't care. He didn't care. He was one of the men that I met who felt like, I want freedom. I want freedom, not for my family, like some people think. I want freedom for all people. And whatever he involved himself in, he would push for that. Now, people say he was musically talented, but I want to say to you that he did a whole bunch more. I was with him at drug marches, anti-gang and anti-drug marches, back in the 80s. I was with him when they were protesting the Krugerians. I was with him when he was passing out pamphlets about, people, how they was fighting against abortion. He was an advocate of, as I said, not only the oppressed, but he wanted freedom. Now, the funny thing, though, is they're twins. And I've told other people, but I want to tell you that they are each other inside out. So Dhati was exciting and joyful and charming and loving. He said, you sure you don't want to take the better looking brother? a bunch of work. What I didn't realize, he became the other. He was the other. He was the other, and he was consistent as far as showing love, respect, joy, connection, nurturing, hard work. I couldn't call him for anything. If I get it out, what you need? What we doing? How we gonna get it done? He was that type of person. I thought I would do a personal one reflection of him, because I want us to recognize, no matter how young you are, you can make a difference. Mhm. 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 At 23, he was making a difference consistently in all kind of people's lives. And he was a very family-oriented person, so he made a difference. He did not shuck that either. He would do his part and your part. He was a loving person. And because of that, he looked, like he was scattered, but he was actually, look who's here. He was very focused. He was very clear. He was consistently clear about what he wanted to do every moment of the day, and in between when he had other ideas. Mhm. At 23, Mama Frances said, and I quote, "You all do because you don't have enough sense to know you shouldn't do." And at 23, he was one of those main ones who didn't know he shouldn't be able to do, didn't know he couldn't do, didn't know it wasn't supposed to be something he would do. He did it. And we did too. I challenge all of us here who holds him dear in our heart to stand on the shoulders of this man who wasn't trying to be great. He was just trying to be free. And he was trying for you to be free. He wanted you to be free and your children to be free. He wanted all that. So let's make the most of our moments. Let's do it. They say, do the damn thing. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. I leave praise and honor to Dhati Majaliwa for all that he has done and all that he may do, because I'm sure he took his drum with him. I don't want to tell you the funny stories about him and Kutuba throwing socks at each other or fighting all the time. They was grown. And when I met them, they had a red, black, and green room. They were committed people, to the nation and the work. And I still challenge you as I close by saying, what will you do? What can you do? Pretend you're 23 and you don't know you can't do. Do it. Do it. Make a difference. Realize we are connected to each other and you can make a difference for the children's children's children, so we can be free. Ashe.
Ingoma, it's live. It's live. So we're going to move forward with another artistic expression with Lila LaFleur, Baba Too, and Chad Evans. They don't say it, Layla. They don't say it right. Lila LaFleur. Laya. All right. Lila.
That's
Laya
okay. All my
LaFleur.
life, y'all
All
been
right.
calling
I
me
know.
Lila.
I know.
You know I don't mind. Kujaliwa. I was that little girl that Shirley was dragging around. Coralicia, the family. So I come kind of as family because we are that connected. We are that connected. I just remember being a little girl joking, and I would just be so mad that Shirley was dragging me around to the poetry readings, to the drumming sessions, to the bookstore, and I would be making fun of y'all's names. And now I'm old. So now I have to say permission from the elders to speak. I'm gonna ask David Jackson, who's up here already, to join us as well. To the musicians, I write, I do a lot of things, but what I don't do is ever try to steal my mother's words, but she gave me her blessing before she left here to say her words. So this I dedicate to Dhati, and I thank him for performing for Rivers of Women this past May. It was quite an experience. This is all still settling in, so I just say thank you to you all for being the village that helped raise me. The musician. There's a man singing under my skin, like a gourd song, with a clear voice, singing the silk of a hummingbird, deep throat in the silver blades of holy grass. There's a man singing under my skin, like a drum choir, wind jamming my blues spots, blowing the dust off my wings, sifting the textures of my nature, rich and mahogany, between the long enchanting fingers, plucking out the ruptured nerve, restringing me. There's a man singing under my skin, like a brass band breaststroking my winds, moving with a bebop eye, scatting on these haints, charming these cooties, putting some rhythm on these blue notes, swinging low on a sweet chariot, making my spirit rise, jamming, jazzing, jamming, like a poet chewing on a sonnet, rearranging my score. This man is dancing under my skin, with easy feet, to the metronome stride, dancing a full scale with an insatiable passion. This man with a boogie-woogie ear, laying down a gypsy string bass line in brass, sun dancing me gold like a Mississippi yam. This man moving like a conga, waltz, doing the bambouli and a hoochie coo. This man singing and dancing under my skin with a whole Sahara of tambourines, stringing a gospel pearl between my haints and my harmony, between my rapture and my rupture, reconnecting my muscles, my nerves, my bones with a soprano tongue, turning my brass bones to rainbows. This man, this singing, this dancing under my skin has broken my silence out loud. Healing. Bear my windquack song, wounded on the second bar, in the throat of your silver trumpet. Play me a getting up morning, a full heart melody. Fold my broken wing inside your bosom with a healing score. Dance me upstream, a golden salmon sonnet, an angel overture on a long silk tone. Make the music honey sweet, a clear note, and let me soar. The Healing, Shirley Bradley Price LaFleur. God bless. I love you. Thank you, David.
while back, Dhati came to hear me play kora. And he said there was a young man who wanted to play kora. So I said I'd hook up. But he left. Before I could do that. But guess what? It ain't over. In 1989, Infrared Rockers went to Cote d'Ivoire. And now everybody else went to lunch, and I didn't. Now that don't happen a lot. But anyway, they came back, Baba, too, you gotta hear this brother. He playing this instrument with all these strings. I said, really? So I went in. Sure enough, at dinner, there he was. So I went up to the brother, his name was Sheku Kuyate. I said, bruh, I like that. Guess what he did? He handed it to me. I said, bro, I just met this. He handed it to me. So he started giving me lessons. Eventually, he would give me a lesson, keep it overnight, see if I did any better, give me another lesson. He said, you serious? I said, yes, sir. He said, wow, you really serious? Guess what? I make these. I said, I said, well, why, can you make me one? He said, yes. He said, I'll just charge you for the parts. What? How brother gonna turn that down? So make a long story short, this instrument he made for me, and it was fresh killed goat, a little bit of hair left, and fresh killed goat skin. You can smell it. All right? You know what I'm saying? So the crazy thing was, everywhere I went, I had to take this on the plane, everywhere, and everybody was like, what dude doing? Anyway, Africa is here to speak to us. Allah Dhati. I heard that song. I walked in Progressive Emporium one day, and it was playing. So I said, So I went on and learned how to play that. That song is to welcome royalty. Well, guess what? I just play it to welcome each other and welcome us, because we the real royalty. Wow. So anyway, this is the first song he taught me. Y'all awesome. Wow. My wife is up there, and every now and then, she might be sleepy, she might not be sleepy, and I'll be practicing, because I got to touch this every day. So, you hear these right here? Ain't that sweet? So, I was in there playing one day and I came in, baby, listen at this. How's that? I gave this a name. The name is from Uganda. Tunadamu. Tunadamu. To be continued.
that we will be leaving on that.
We'll be leaving out on
Okay,
that,
leaving out on that.
celebrating our brother.
But it's been a wonderful celebration. I'm sure that you have had all your energy, all of the wonderful word warriors bringing us the message. We have saluted our brother Dhati and his twinship, Majaliwa, with great intentions, and we are sure that he is going to continue because he's under our skin. He's under our skin, so we're going to move forward with Dhati doing the work in the, what is it? In the KD. In the KD. We're going to move forward in the KD. All praises due. All right. a man singing under our skin.
That's right.
Yes.
We
Thank you.
Yes. And that concludes our program. We thank everybody for coming out. Our celebration, not a program, our celebration.
7 strong around.
And in all Ingoma, we will close with our 7 strong Harambe. It wouldn't be right if we did not close out our Ingoma with our 7 strong Harambes.
Harambe means we pull together. So we all stand up, and we're going to raise our right hands. And on the count of, we say Jale 2, that means 1, 2, 3. On the count of 2, that's when you come down and we pull down 7 times with Harambe and hold the 7th one. All right, we ready? Jale 2.
Harambe, 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 Harambe.